This is Halloween. This is Halloween.
We don't
Halloween.
sing that.
Halloween.
We don't sing that one.
Hey, we do because that movie goes from Halloween through Christmas. There is a turkey. You
Yes,
could say it's all year round. There's even an Easter bunny on there. It's
there
a
is.
year-round movie. You could sneak that in any holiday. Doesn't matter. It's fine. This is Halloween. This is Halloween. Halloween. Halloween.
Well,
Uh,
everybody, good morning and good afternoon and good evening to That's Good Booking. I am the Demented. We have over here Mr. IAmSteves. And right underneath me, or wherever he's going to be in the screen right now, that is K-Pop Detective Popcorn. We got to change that this week. I remember that now. Anyway, this week is Halloween week. When this airs,
Fuck yeah, it
Halloween
is.
has just passed. And guess what, guys? We have a lot to talk about between wrestling and horror movies. So let's start off quick with some wrestling. Let's go into that first because I know K-pop's going to blow our ears off with horror movies. So what does everybody think about the current feud that's going on right now between Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch?
Oh, is that real heat or is that a work heat?
I mean, if it's not
From
on
the
camera,
articles,
it
it is
sounds like
real
real
heat.
heat.
Really?
Yeah.
Real heat.
And you know what? That's fine with me. Like if they're fighting each other backstage, great. If they're gonna put that in an actual feud on TV, even better. It adds to the realism of it all. But the whole backstage heat thing, like it it may not be the best thing for business depending on what they're doing. What was the shit with the flip flopping of the titles and like just a cordial handover of the titles, swapping them? Why?
I think because of the
We have
draft.
had this before. We have had this before, actually. It was
It's
done
stupid.
back during the Raw is War era. Stone Cold had to change the title hands with Vince McMahon once.
It's horrible. It's a
it's
horrible
kinda
idea.
silly. It is kind of silly, but if they could turn this into a work heading into Survivor Series, it would actually work out. But the problem is I think this is already far too gone, because the way the internet works nowadays is that too many people can get their greedy hands on the insider information, and it kind of breaks the kayfabe if this was real, if this was fake. Which kind of sucks because we all three of us love wrestling. We still we still take in the disbelief and the make believe of it all, and knowing that even though it is a scripted program, this is a scripted program that is entertainment for us, even if it is real pro wrestling or the wrestling entertainment era. But at the end of it, that's the whole problem we're having now, is that we can no longer suspend our beliefs because so much information gets thrown in our faces. You can't sit there and go, oh, well, this is a real thing. This is not a work. You can tell when it's a work or when it's real heat because more and more articles pull in or pull out about it. Like, for instance, just this past week, MGF was on Barstool
that podcast. Yeah, wrestling.
And he talked about, well, whoever's got the better money is going to get me. Well, we know that's a work because we already know it.
That's MJF. He wanted his character would not work in WWE the way he wants to work.
Right, exactly. He would end up being an NXT guy, start up, and it would just be absolutely horrible. Though I would say that Gacy character versus MJF would be an interesting segment because we haven't talked about NXT 2.0 yet either, which would be something else I dabble towards the middle before we get into horror. But I do believe there would be good matches back there, but needless to say, MGF is top talent. He is one of the top voices, top promo persons right now to date. I cannot deny that. I don't think anybody else can deny that, because if you hate him, he's doing his job and you've lost.
100%.
So even him talking about Roman Reigns, saying like, he's good. Like, even just that, like, he's not breaking kayfabe. He's still doing the same stuff that he always does. Like, I mean, heel respect heel kind of thing, even if it's across companies. But like, I mean, he's over there calling CM Punk mid, which I'm gonna have to agree with him right now, but that's just me.
I don't
This
mind that.
whole
I don't
this
mind
whole
it.
no,
Like
but
CM
this
Punk
whole
can.
Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair thing, it might work. It might work with this extra backstage heat. If they can incorporate that into the storyline, that's the only way that it's gonna work then.
Yeah, and I agree with you. Like I agree
I
that
mean,
they can take that stuff and turn it into a great story. That's if they can work at it, but I don't think they can. I think that's oil and water, and they're
they'll
not going
work
to make.
around it. That's their problem. Instead of incorporating things like, okay, I get it. I sound like an AEW mark all the fucking time because I
We
am.
all do. We all do.
But I mean, I'll call out AEW for their bad stuff when there is bad stuff. But it's like with okay, why am I spacing his name right now? This guy,
See? Not that-
and Airborne.
Matt
That's
Sydal.
Yes, thank you. When he first got brought into AEW and he had that slip, and then they put it as Nakazawa put baby oil on the
BT.
turnbuckle. It's like that's how you incorporate a fuck up. WWE wants to avoid all bad things, all anything that is like, oh, it's not going their way. They want to just act like it never happened. They want to push it to the
Gotta
side.
hurt our
AEW will
brand,
incorporate all of their stuff,
right?
even
rather
that
fight it
stupid
head
little
on and take
explosion.
it off and make a fun excuse out of it.
Yeah, make
gotta
it a
hurt that
joke
brand.
because guess what? We understand that it's not real, but it's like, why not? Oh, why not just play along with it? Why not keep going forward with it?
I absolutely agree. I can't. I like you said, we're all marks in our own way, but you know, would we give credit where credit's due, and we'll shit on it when it's shitty.
Yeah,
One thing I will have to
absolutely.
give credit for, the Saudi Crown Jewel was actually a good pay-per-view. I actually watched it. I actually enjoyed it. There was a few matches that were a little iffy, but Edge, Seth Rollins, Hell in a Cell was a banger match. I didn't like Bobby Lashley Goldberg. That looked like a squash match, which was garbage.
That was the pee break.
Yeah,
I heard I heard that it was actually pretty good for a Goldberg match.
For a Goldberg match, yes. But the problem
But
is
I mean, that bar is about as low as it gets.
But you're trying to legitimize the Hurt Business and Bobby Lashley as a threat, and you just watched Goldberg squash all three of them. You can't do that. There was no like good offense for Lashley. I get it. It's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be a pay-per-views televised house event where things can happen that don't really happen in storyline. But
that's why I don't. That's why I don't watch it.
Yeah, but you can't do that to Bobby Lashley. Like, and it, ever since Goldberg beat the Fiend, it kind of like, it was a horrible, idea to ever do the whole Saudi event stuff because, and I get it. They do it because of the money. They do it because the Saudi prince is
that's why I don't watch it.
Is drawing it in, and I know there's controversy behind it, but they've actually had a really solid stacked card. I mean, like you said, Bobby Lashley Goldberg was probably the poorest match next to Zelina Vega winning the Queen's crown against Doudrop, But hey, more power to Zelina Vega. But Woods winning the
King of the Ring.
King of the Ring.
Oh, I'm so happy for him.
Yeah, that's going to be a great draw because they could do a whole story with him being King Woods. Now, I would have loved Balor to win because then he would have went from Prince Balor to King Balor, which would have been really cool. But then that hurt me a little bit also. But that was such a good banger match. You didn't really have a choice of who was winning, who was losing. And the problem is now Prince Balor, Finn Balor, has taken 2 huge L's in the last month. That's kind of poor booking on the fact of Balor, because Balor's a
It's
draw.
not good booking.
It's not good booking.
Definitely not
Balor's
good
a draw, and I think that was just the worst idea they could have done at the time. But other than that, Roman versus Brock was actually a good match.
Was it competent at least?
It held its own.
Say it was comical.
Competent.
Oh, confident.
No, competent. Yeah.
I thought that comical.
I mean,
like
No,
probably
it held
a bit.
its own in its ideals of what it should have been, and it still legitimizes Roman as a strong heel champion. It's setting up for something bigger, and we don't know it yet, and we all think it's going to be The Rock at the end. I don't think it's going to be The Rock. I think something else has to happen for Roman to lose. But I think,
are they really going to bring The Rock in just to try to put Roman over more than he is? There would be no point. Roman's at the ceiling. There's no point in having The Rock lose.
I think we've hit that ceiling, and now
Roman.
we're going to hit the bottom side of this storyline, and it's going to suck.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. They don't. That's an issue with WWE. They don't understand how to finish a storyline. It's like a Stephen King book. There's just no good ending. You know what I'm saying? And that's the biggest problem. Like, I didn't watch the Saudi show just because it seems so masturbatory to me. You know what I'm saying? It seems like they're just jerking each other off just for the fuck of it.
Yeah,
because none of those matches matter, and every single one of those shows has a big issue. I don't know about this one. I didn't watch it. I just saw. I just
this one
read
went
the
off without a
recaps
hitch.
on it.
This one went off without a hitch. This one had good shows. The plane left an hour and a half after the show ended.
Oh, good. They got home. Okay.
Yeah, like nothing. This was actually the first time where there was no big hiccups after the Saudi show. Actually, the real big hiccup after the Saudi show would be Charlotte and Lynch at the SmackDown show, which is kind of ironic. But I'm gonna put a pin in wrestling right now, because you said something that kind of irked me a little bit, and it's about horror. And you said Stephen King doesn't finish a book good.
Typically, no. He doesn't. Typically, he does not know how to finish a book well. Like his endings typically are rushed, or it's a cliffhanger, and it's like,
but
okay,
would that be a
Cujo
good thing?
2? We're gonna get It 2? No,
well, we got part 2.
No, not in the book.
We're gonna get It 3.
I had to watch. I read that whole, like, what was it, like 1,200 page book, and there's a lot of bad things in that book, especially that children part in the sewers. That was,
I will say,
unnecessary.
The book and the movie, it does its fine justice. Like, when you go to book to silver screen, it does its fine justice.
The miniseries and the movies, they encompassed all parts of the book for the most part.
Yeah, any like real Stephen King book to movie or TV series
doesn't translate well.
It doesn't translate that well, because his writing and his definement is so niche.
Especially not the goddamn Dark Tower.
No, we're not going to talk about that one. That one. Wait,
my favorite series of books. My favorite series, and they fucked it. They went in dry. Just
Poor. The only person I feel bad for that movie is Idris Elba.
Yeah, but
he's such a great actor.
Yeah.
And the reason I brought up books to silver screen, though, is because it is horror movie month, pretty much, and horror movies are everywhere and abound. We've had so many horror movies drop this month, on top of the classics that we can go through. We could talk about our top 3 classics. We could talk about so much stuff. So let's just get into what we liked this season and what we didn't like this season.
Okay. Okay, the best movie that I've seen this October, so far at least, is The Queen of Black Magic. That movie, oh my God. It hit everything that you wanted it to. It had gore, it had jump scares, it made you worry about what's around the next corner, it had bugs and just stuff that made you kind of like sit
Oh
back
god.
and like, I don't know about this.
Does it give you Midsummer vibes?
It was, fuck that movie. Fuck Midsummer, you pretentious prick. I'm sorry. That was aggressive. That was aggressive. Um, I personally, I absolutely hate that movie. It was 2.5 hours long. It was a pointless movie. They should have made that into like a 35-minute short film. Then it would have been fine. But Midsummer was just a waste of time. It was bad. But
I thought it was
the
good
Queen of
art.
Black Magic, fantastic. It was good art. Yeah, that's what most people say. It's pretentious as fuck, man. Come on. But
So I know K-pop has watched it, but Steve, did you watch the new Halloween Kills?
I haven't got around to watch it yet, but I heard
Well,
really good
between
positive.
me
you
and
don't
K-pop,
have to.
between me and K-pop, we'll tell you not to.
I figured.
It's pointless. Realistically.
Does it
The
fall
way they
into,
set it up, I'll tell you this: the way they set it up was right up until they told you that there was a third movie coming, and then that put a bad taste in your mouth, knowing that this movie was going to end some type of way you did not want it to see. Was it a good Michael Myers slasher? Absolutely. It had some of the funniest kills I've seen in a long time. I would give that its credit. That's where I could give it credit.
Had some good kills.
It did have some good kills. But the way they now treat Michael Myers as an entity and not a human or a superhuman or a demonic
That's the thing.
being.
The director went on record saying Michael Myers is not supernatural or anything of that sort. He is more capable than the average human, but he can't do things that are impossible.
The man
But
took a pitchfork to the back of his neck.
Fucker got shot multiple times, stabbed with a pitchfork, cracked on the neck, all this shit, and he's still just a man? No.
That's
Just
why
say
I'm
that
saying
he's
an
supernatural,
entity.
and I'll feel better about it.
That's why I'm saying he's an entity.
But he's not, according to the director.
Yeah, I'm saying
According to the director, he's not.
Himself,
and that's what's frustrating.
The director himself is ruining it. Is to the fact that, like, you know what Michael Myers is right now to me? He's a Horcrux.
Harry
He's a
Potter,
whore?
that shit.
He's a Horcrux. Harry Potter and Voldemort, Harry Potter, and you're talking about who, Michael Myers, and that's what they are. When she dies, he dies. That's what's gonna have to happen.
Jamie Lee Curtis.
But the problem is, they even said in the movie that this barely spoiler. It's not a big deal.
I'm not gonna
because
watch it anyway.
You already know that there's another movie coming. But for the people that don't want to know, spoiler alert, real quick. So they even said in the movie that she is not what he was looking for. The therapist, the doctor, this movie's Dr. Loomis was the one that brought Michael to Laurie Strode.
Yeah.
And so and she's not his sister anymore. Like they just cut all that shit out. Like the first movie is basically the only one that ever mattered. Other than parts of the second one. But it's they retconned so much of that movie, they just destroyed the franchise as a whole.
But they got the pattern down though, and yet the pattern is he shows up and he makes his way back to the Myers house, and he will kill anybody in his path on the way. But
okay,
yet,
but 10 fucking people surrounding him, and he's on the ground. And first off, nobody decides, hey, let's just chop this dude's head off.
That's what I would do.
And he gets up, and all of a sudden he's a martial artist that can fucking take on 10 people. Like, it straight up turned into a kung fu movie where one person attacks you at a time, and then the guy just starts getting at him.
Wait, did they do the Big Show thing?
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right with that. Like, he literally got back up and just went after the first person. Everybody in disbelief was like, he just killed somebody. And he literally turns, next person. Third person finally wakes the fuck up, tries to come at him. He blocks him, takes him out.
No, it wasn't a Big Show thing. It wasn't everyone toppled on him and he got up and went, rah! No, it wasn't like that at all. That's if they would have done that,
The
that
last
been
person
better.
took a pitchfork to the back of his fucking neck. The back of his neck. If you took a pitchfork to anybody's neck, you're either now Christopher Reeves or you're dead.
Yeah, there's just so much wrong with the movie. I can see how people like it. I can understand how, like, from just a basic standpoint of watching this movie, I can understand that people like it because of the kills, but the storyline, and I understand this movie is not meant to have a great storyline. It's not. It's Halloween. But at the same time, they're trying to force a plot line while still having all this campy shit in it. It just doesn't work for me.
Out of the big, I guess there's the big four. Would you consider them
Evil
the big
dies
four?
tonight?
Yeah. Do you consider the big four baddies to be? Would you consider the big four baddies to be Krueger, Jason, Myers, and Chucky?
Oh,
I'd throw in Pinhead at fifth.
Or would you
no,
put
actually, scratch that. You'd have to say six, only because Krueger, Jason, Michael Myers, Chucky, Pinhead, and Leatherface.
Leatherface.
Okay. You'd have to say six.
Yeah.
But how would you rank them?
Personally, or
personally. I mean, this is we can talk however we want. This is our show.
Personally, I'd go Freddy number one. That's my dude. I love Nightmare on Elm Street. That's like my favorite slasher series. Go Freddy, Jason, Pinhead, Leatherface, Chucky, Michael Myers. Michael Myers is my least favorite.
I'm close to you on that. Definitely my number one is Freddy. I love Freddy because just the mental mind games he plays. I'm just I love the mentality of it all.
Demented.
Are you demented? Yeah, you got it.
Or are you unstable?
No, that's gone. But then I like Jason at 2, only because of the new backstory for him and the way they've altered his backstory a little bit. That he is literally in the Evil Dead universe also, because if you think about it, and everybody talks about it, how does Jason become the supersized, super fucking hulking person when he died as a child? Well, because
he's basically a deadite.
Yeah, that's why I love him. So yeah, I love him at number 2 because you can tell he thinks
on a primal, like, animalistic level.
A primal creativity level. I'm gonna put Chucky at 3. I like Chucky. I like Chucky there because, especially with the new Chucky series, I think that's given me a rebirth to what he's about.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, when I watched his movies, one I had a good guy doll. I had a My Buddy Good Guy doll when I was a kid. So I have a little spot in my heart for Chucky.
Yes, he scared the fuck out of me because my
Yeah.
sister had a bunch of porcelain dolls and it wasn't
Which
good.
he's like the original, he's the original doll killer, I would say.
Yeah.
So that creepiness, that extra creepiness to him that he technically cannot be killed, in a sense, is what kind of keeps him at the high ranking list. Then I would probably go Pinhead and then Myers.
You forgot Leatherface.
Oh, I'm sorry. Leatherface would be it would go, I'm sorry, Chucky 3
before or after Pinhead,
or Leatherface 5, Myers 6.
Okay. Now,
because
you
Myers
are
and me, they're just one directional focus.
Yeah. Steve is our resident non-believer when it comes to horror movies. Just kind of recently, I mean, you started recently getting into horror movies, right?
Yeah, I've got into
for the most part.
About 8 years ago when I met my wife. Like I watched a little bit of horror. Like I watched like Friday the 13th. I watched a little bit of the Halloween movies, the common horror movies, and then I got my wife and I are very into the supernatural, like horror movies, like the paranormal, like the Conjuring, the demonic, I should say. And my favorite movie of like horror movie has to be Hereditary. Hereditary is just that movie that like sinks you in with the trailer thinking that something's gonna like. Have you guys all seen it?
Yeah, of course.
I like how it, spoiler for everyone watching this, I love how it focused on the girl. It's like, oh, this story's about her. She's like doing the clicking sounds, and then secondly, she heads off, and it does the sun now, and it's like, this is amazing. I love this plot twist. And
to me, that was the only good part of that movie. That's just me. Like, I know it's an uncommon opinion, but it wasn't as great as everyone puts it out there to be to me. But okay, so same question to you then. You got six of the main slashers, like the biggest slashers. Where are you ranking them at?
I have to agree with you guys that number one is Freddy, because Freddy's just that he's comical and he kills people too. It's like, oh, you're to sleep? There you go. He fucking killed Johnny Depp in the bed. It just yep. Number two, I have to agree with Joe with the Jason thing, because Jason's just a complete fucking badass. Just like
I think both all three of us said.
I think
Freddy,
1 and
Jason.
2 is we're all in agreement. I think it's where we start sliding with 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah.
I think with Leatherface.
That's fair.
Leatherface is one of those guys that's like, I'm a sucker for like the sociopaths, like the psychotic guys. Like I like those like American Psycho guys, like those thriller / like one of those things. And I fell in love with that kind of character. Number 4 has to be Chucky, because Chucky is just like Freddy. He's a comedic guy, and he also kills people. And I always loved the part in, I think, what was it, Seed of Chucky, where it's Method Man at the dinner table.
No, it's Redman.
Redman.
Yeah, he's trying to get Jennifer Tilly to play the Virgin.
Yeah.
In his movie.
And then he cuts him and it starts dripping out. Like, that's hilarious. And number 5, I'd say Michael Myers, because he's an OG. He's like, he just had his like what 7th, 10th movie. He's still kicking strong, and he's one of the main reasons why horror movies are so cool at the moment.
I think he's had like 12 movies.
12.
Some crazy fucking number. Like, I don't think he's as far as Jason, but he's somewhere around there.
I think when it comes to movie numbers, I think Jason is still at the top, and then it's got to be Jason, Myers, probably Freddy, And then now
Well,
Chucky.
actually, I think Chucky might have surpassed Freddy now. I
Well,
think.
you got 6 Freddy movies, the remake, and then Versus.
Okay, so oh yeah, so there's and then Child's Play went 1, 2. Okay, it went 1, 2, 3, then Bride, then Seed, Curse, then Cult, and then the remake, and now a TV show.
I forgot about the remake.
Mark Hamill remake.
Yeah,
yeah.
Forgot about that one.
I enjoyed personally.
I liked it too. It was a fresh twist, I should say. Even
So Pinhead's at your at the bottom of your list.
You guys are gonna hate me. I have never.
You've never seen it, have you?
Never
you
seen a Hellraiser movie?
No.
You son of a bitch. You.
Their
child. You child.
They are very, very. I will have to agree though. They are very, very eclectic. They are a very, very typical type of a movie that you have to be prepared for to watch. You can't go in blindly with that kind of a movie. That's kind of like a what the fuck.
Okay, you can watch the first 2. Just watch the first 2.
Yeah.
And then get back to us, because after the first 2, they kind of turned to shit, like realistically.
I figured that.
But the first 2 are amazing. Like they are fantastic horror movies. And they, especially the second one, I think makes you feel a certain type of way when it comes to like gore and just like peeling of skin and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They're gruesome. They are I feel like that's kind of like the first set of quote unquote torture porn. Because I mean they're
I would put I would stack Hellraiser with the Jigsaw series.
I'd put it more with Hostel.
Yeah, I could. Why?
Anywhere where, if anything,
anywhere where there's a
but
person
supernatural
who literally just gets tortured at that point, like because Jigsaw was a torture porn type of movie, even though it was a game, it was a death game movie.
I think that was more intellectual than it was.
Where
Hostel,
where Hellraiser's just like you straight fucked up with the devil type of shit. You're getting your skin peeled off.
Yeah. Oh, straight up, like, oh, hey, you open this box, you fucked up.
I'm gonna turn your face into a zipper.
I always thought that Hellraiser, the guy, was played by Christopher Lee. Someone told me that he played like Hellraiser, and I'm like, awesome, this is made. And I saw the cast, I'm like, that's not Christopher Lee. You lied to me.
No. No. The Hellraiser series, unfortunately, became nothing but low budget. Like the budget got lower and lower and lower. And
no.
There, I forget which one it was. It was like the 4th one, I think. They had this whole storyline of like he's in the internet, like some Matrix type shit, and it was bad. It was really bad. It was like cyber hell or something like that. I don't know. It was a super 2000s horror movie.
It was like Lawnmower Man, but like worse.
Bad.
Like I can't describe it. But like we could break down horror movies into so many different subgenres, because my favorite subgenre of horror would be actually death game / that kind of stuff. Like I love those types of like a person gets put into a situation and they have to sacrifice either themselves or somebody else to get out of said situation.
Survival horror.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cabin in the Woods.
Huh?
Cabin in the Woods.
Hey,
I love
you laugh, but that's a great movie.
I think it's a fantastic movie.
It is a fantastic because it broke every stereotypical
horror comedy.
Yeah, it was every stereotypical horror trope you could have fell into.
Yeah.
And even with the dark fantasy shit at the end of it, when everything went, all hell broke loose, because, well, that's what it was. But it was just so funny to see like the Scooby-Doo gang get fucked up all night long.
I love it. And Hemsworth was like, I got this. I'll go get help. Oh shit!
Dude, just smacks into that shield like.
But he inhaled that stuff and became the jock. It was so great, you know. And then she became the slut and the stoner guy.
Yeah, and the virgin, and yeah, it was
the stoner guy smoked, so he didn't affect them, and it was so funny.
And the guy falls on the ground and gets killed by the mermaid. He's like, oh, come on.
But can we talk about how cool the coffee mug bong was?
Yeah. Well, can we talk that? Do we not want to talk about the security guard getting impaled by the unicorn?
Yes.
Dude.
No.
Honestly, that movie, like, I feel like it gets looked over a lot.
It does.
Because I mean, it has such corny elements to it, but it is so good. Now, I personally, I'm big into found footage. Found footage is my absolute favorite, 100%. I got to get into that right after I take this quick break.